Hello, everybody. Welcome all to a very special event that we have today, put on by the No Cold War International Campaign. My name is Kang, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Qiao Collective today, as well as chairing this event. The Qiao Collective is a group of Chinese diaspora writers, artists, and researchers dedicated to anti-imperialism and socialism. We are a media collective dedicated to challenging US aggression on China, which we hold as fueled and justified using nakedly racist and xenophobic tropes. We are definitely a recent arrival to the anti-war and anti-racist movements compared to some of the eminent speakers we have lined up here today. We are actually just a few months shy of Qiao Collective's first anniversary of its founding in January of this year, in response to the virulently racist and imperialist narratives surrounding the first documented COVID-19 cluster in Wuhan, and the broader xenophobic Cold War agenda, which language such as the China virus served to intensify. The short 10 months since our founding has witnessed historic escalation on the part of the United States in its efforts to contain and destabilize China's peaceful rise. Amidst events such as the forced closure in July of the Chinese consulate in Houston, new rounds of sanctions on Chinese officials and companies, and an all-out information war against China on topics as wide-ranging as Hong Kong and the environment, Qiao Collective has tried to play a small role in providing media, analysis, and commentary that provides a counter-narrative to rising anti-China hysteria in the United States and beyond. In our endeavors, Qiao Collective has been honored to have the support and collaboration of our longtime peace advocates, anti-imperialists, and other comrades. In particular, the new No Cold War Organizing Committee, on which we have been honored to serve. I would like to thank the No Cold War Organizing Committee for allowing us this honor of chairing today's meeting. Today's event is about linking anti-racism activism with anti-war movements. While it might at first be difficult to connect racism, a concept many of us are conditioned to believe is largely an interpersonal phenomenon, with imperialism and warfare, which have global implications, such a connection is in fact only quite natural when considering countries whose entire territorial jurisdictions are built on conquest justified with racist ideologies, and who possess entire systems of law built on racist doctrines to legitimize their conquests. In my own country, the United States, founded in no small part by the wish of colonial imperialists to gain spectacular wealth through speculation on then yet conquered indigenous land, settler land rights do not exist independent of the basic assumption that indigenous peoples have no rights. And historically, an entire class of people were individually considered 3/5 of a person. This past year has clarified the endurance of these systems of white supremacy and the structures of capitalism, colonialism, and imperialism that they uphold. The COVID-19 pandemic in the United States has had decidedly unequal impacts, with Native nations such as the Navajo Nation and many Black communities facing disproportionate fatality rates. Amidst the staggering so-called third wave of cases reaching historic heights, the United States has merely sought to shift the blame for these disparities and contradictions onto China with the racialized language of the so-called China plague or Wuhan virus. This crude Orientalism, alongside false claims of a Chinese cover-up, are merely attempts to project a crisis manufactured by American capitalism and white supremacy onto an Oriental villain. In the face of US unilateralism and belligerence during the COVID-19 crisis, the No Cold War International Campaign is dedicated to resisting needless conflict in an era requiring global human cooperation in the face of unprecedented problems such as climate change, global pandemic preparedness, and the fight against hunger and poverty. Indeed, the very term Cold War is, in itself, an indication of its own imperial core biases, fueled by racism, as the Cold War was anything but conflict-free, with millions of human lives and futures lost and stolen by the Cold War's conflicts and strife, the cost borne the most by peoples and nations of the global South. What some may call Pax Americana starting from the 1990s, others rightfully see as unacceptable acquiescence to a global order, which treats the misery and suffering of people and children as, in the words of former Secretary of State and recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Madeleine Albright, worth it. Indeed, this is a global order very much justified by racist ideologies and reliant on the callous degrading and dehumanization of fellow people. But I'm confident that the speakers we have today, reporting in from and representing communities from all over the globe, can speak much more to these experiences, both universal and particular. This is far and away one of the most exciting panels I have ever encountered, and each speaker has been on my personal, wow, this person would be cool to talk to for 2 seconds list. So please pardon me if I prove a bit exuberant while introducing each speaker. Speakers, please note that you have 8 minutes. I will unfortunately need to start cutting off people once time has been reached. But with that, let us waste no more time and get to the exciting conversations we'll have today.